No, that's not what we want. Oh no. Good evening, friends. Here we are again to talk about how wonderful you are within. I want to just check the messages, and because on my live on Monday, being creative, apparently we went through a whole hour of me creating without me having sound. I apologize on one level, but on the other hand, I think it was really interesting reading your comments and things, and I really like it. Not that I'll do it all the time, but obviously the powers that be had other ideas about that class. So just tune into the messages. And hi to everyone. Yes, good. I have to find a way while I'm in a being process to check the messages in the future or make sure that my mic is on. Someday. Yes, you can hear me. Good, good, good. Thank you, everyone. So, Delegate. Hi, Sylph. Welcome to all of us being here together. So you might have noticed that the title of this particular evening is The Power of Choice. Last week we talked about the power of love versus the love of power. And to take that into a real experience, then we have to talk about choice. We talk about, well, I do contemplate and hope to inspire you all about the how creative you are, that every person is in some aspect of life. And you have the power to control everything that pretty well you choose to have. And what I mean about that is that life is an infinite abundance of choices, little and large. And to find that level of energy of love within life and within us requires that we really go deeper and become the observer of our little thoughts. Because believe it or not, different to making a choice of, do I rent that house or do I rent that house? Or shall I do this or that? It's different. Those little ones that are private within your mind really can have very strong consequences on your life. And it's time. What's interesting is that our new adventure in this time frame is what lies behind our eyes, what lies within invoking our soul, invoking the love that's within our hearts. You know, if you were a couple like decades ago, your parents' generation, if they were ill, what would they do? They'd probably see a doctor, or they would think, what herb should I take? What remedy should I take? Um, should I go to bed? Things like that. But right now, if you are ill, at least for me, I look at the story of my life in the last few days or the last month or year and see what, as an observer, what is going on. What stress have I created? What I don't know, there's so many things that we do. I mean, after my operation, having my gallbladder out, I've had to be very serious about don't have too much butter. My liver has to get used to dealing with it, all the digestive side of things without the gallbladder. And then I also find that secretively, if I have a Coke and a pizza, even half a pizza, I have to put up with a few gurgly experiences. So it's like each one of us has to take charge of how we think and what our choices are. You know, there's during COVID, there's an enormous amount of experiences of being inward with yourself. And that's an amazing experience if you can use it to discover more of who you are, make changes, because you're not going out very much, you're not being judged very much except by yourself. I want to look at your comments. Hi, Damin. How would you pronounce your name? Damiano. Hello. Jessica wants to buy a piece of my art soon. Can you sign it? Let me know what one it is. And we can arrange something, I'm sure. Depends on where you're buying it. Hi, Stefan. Good evening from Italy, and to you and to everyone connected. Thank you. Gurgly experiences. Yep. Spelt crust pizza. Well, it's more to do with having vegan cheese. That works quite well on a pizza. But now that Matthew's with me, he has to have gluten-free. And the pizza, Domino's does do gluten-free and vegan cheese. It gets really complicated sometimes, but mind you, I had quite an experience as a mom and a cook with all my brood, because we allowed to, if one of them didn't like one thing, we would make something else. I don't know whether it was a good idea or not, but that's what we did. And you should see some of the menus that I wrote out. So, what I want to tell you is that there are 5 different suggestions of habit, behavior, focus to become the observer of your choices. We've always talked about the inner visible aspects of who we are and the visible aspects. And choice of purpose comes into the whole thing of being a messenger of the sacred part of life and the highest a human being can be. So what I've created was a little slideshow with some sweet little images of nature that I want to take us through a short visualization meditation so that we can go into that deeper aspect of who we are. But let me see what Verpi's up to. Now that I think about the subject, the power of choice, I have made several choices in favor of my mental health lately and helping others. The main thing right now is that I'm starting an experience expert course this Saturday. It's provided by my local mental health organization. I hope to be able to help people with my experience in the future. That's a lovely idea. One of my teachers used to say that there are 3 important things to do on a spiritual path, and one is to be of service to humanity, you're included, to yourself, meditate, and to study. So Verpi, it sounds like you're on the path, on the way. Hi Lily, glad you made it. Jessica, what, meditating's going to make you swoon or visualize? Well, let's hope you're sitting in a chair and you won't fall over. So I'm going to put on this little visualization slideshow, and I will talk behind it. I'm certain that my microphone is on. So, let us begin. First of all, I want you to sit comfortably, take a deep breath, but in this visualization, meditation, I want you to look at the images that will be before you. Be calm. Feel the tenderness and take it into your heart, the sweetness. The opening petals inviting you into the color of blue. The morning sunshine lighting up the grass and the flowers. The butterflies, the tenderness of their life, and this sweet little bird. Pink peonies, my favorite. New life, trusting, happy, joyful, dancing in the field. Friendship together in beauty. And our bird, sweet little bird, trusting the tip of the stem. Now perhaps you should close your eyes now and see if you can feel the tenderness of the images you've just witnessed. Feel the stillness, the joy, the trust, feel the tenderness touch your heart. Relax and let that tenderness float through your body into all your organs, your hips, your thighs, your knees, your feet, your arms, your hands, your neck, and your head. You can open your eyes as I continue. Imagine you're surrounded by beautiful white light, an ocean of light. Open every cell in your body to allow it to come within. Every cell feels the tenderness, the strength of who you are. You are a being of light, of love, of strength, of joy, of wisdom. Take a breath and allow those feelings to be within. Come back to the room. I love some of those images. It's just, they're like in my library. It's Instagram really helps a lot with finding such beauty and things, and that's what's really important, for you to have a choice. And so it's what's really important in this experience of being the observer and taking control and being accountable in this day and age. As I said, there are 5 different, what would you call them? They're not recommendations, I'll call it. So the first one is, in our world, we're being guided to create illusions of who we are. Part of it is part of life to know who we are, and your choices help to build that up. Now, in the Western world, I can't speak for the Eastern world, but we live a lot of illusions that are more a mask of hiding, of creating almost like a lie even to ourselves. So one of the important qualities is to not lie to yourself. You can create an image of who you are, but it's your choice. You have chosen that this is what I'm doing, not because of fear of being accepted or not because of my family told me I had to do it this way. We need to dare to be and have our choice of who you are, and it's your choice. And I have to tell you, I was a model and an actress in the early days, and they told me I had to have the blonde hair. When I first went to Lindos with David, and the rest of the Floyd were there, the agency said, do not get a suntan. I went, whoa, okay. And there are a lot of pictures of me in white with a white umbrella sitting on the boat. Everybody else is in bathing suits and straw hats, and there, there I am, and sitting under the trees on the beach. Because the model agency said, don't get a tan, you have to be very white. Well, it didn't last very long. But I have to say, I went through a phase that I thought, right, I'm cutting my hair off. Poor David. I cut it really, 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 really short instead of being like I am right now. So, when it came to it growing out, I made a choice. This is my choice. I love my hair long and curly, but it was my choice, not because of being told something and I had to do it for something that wasn't me. And we put ourselves through these things all the time. And it's a matter of little by little pulling out those plugs, as I told you last Wednesday, and replugging them in to your choices. So the other thing that's really important, the second thing, is don't pass on your suffering. Try to pass on wisdom. When I was going through this phase, it was like you meet someone in the street and they go, "How are you?" And it was a standard thing to search for something that was ill. Oh, I had a cold, or oh, this, or oh, that, this. So much woe. I mean, life is challenging enough, with grief and pains and terrible childhood and shocking experiences. That can't change. Life seems to have those challenges, and the challenge is not to focus on it once you're working through it. And the main thing is that you choose the wisdom. You choose that you're working through and will come to a solution. Don't hang on to it. The time has come that saying it's my childhood, yes, maybe I didn't have a great childhood in some instances. My father stole me and my sister away from my mother, took us off and hid us in the countryside with my grandparents. Thank God they were wonderful people. I learned a lot. And I told that story often. And then one day I was graced to be under the care of Gerhard Adler and Mrs. Adler, Jungians. And it just doesn't serve anymore. Why? What came to me, the question is, I don't want that run in my life. But I had to come to the realization that I control myself. I have a choice what I continue to let rule my life. It's interesting that when I was going through the phase of resistance to this, it was like the daytime I allowed my thoughts to run, my decisions, my choices of, okay, what am I going to eat today? What shall I do today? And oh my goodness, I have to go do that. And then the nighttime, my feelings, my panics, my fears and everything, that would rule the night. But eventually it came to me that life is a continuing cycle. And there's some pretty great experiences and information that can come in the night if you don't have your fears running you. We're complicated beings, for sure. What our lives have been created, not necessarily through our own choices. I have to agree. Now, the third thing, which I have done quite often actually, and that's to take risks. Not stupid ones, but I don't know if you've noticed that if you're ill and you think, oh my God, I might die from this, or you are near to death, or you go through a review of your life and you look at it and see, oh my God, I didn't do that because I was frightened of people might think I was silly, or no one would talk to me anymore because I wasn't. Well, you should try leaving a lead role in a film, a couple shops, partner, my dog, the USA, to go to England in love with this guy called David Gilmour. And when I got here, it was like, even the money's not the same. Even the jokes aren't the same. But I don't regret it. I have dared so many times. And I have to say that none of them really have been a bad choice. Most of us will think, oh, I can't do that because I have to stay safe. Or we look backwards and we think, well, I want to be like that. Well, you're never going to be like that again. There's a new time. Give time for something new to come. And there will be choices that will empower that, or they won't. There's another place where choice will manifest in your life. But before we go on to number 4, I want to tune in to all of you lovely people. Okay. Verb B, yes, I feel I'm making my own path, also keeping my own safety net good and taking care of myself. It is the basis of everything. Well done, Verb B. I love how you... Hi, Richard, it's okay. Today's been funny. Is there a full moon running around up there? Or did we just go through one? Because there's been some really strange things. But it might be Easter. And the new beginnings, I always call it something new, a new opportunity, a new choice is coming to us. And Julia says, that made me feel so emotional. It was a beautiful experience. I felt like my angels were wrapping their wings around me. That is wonderful, Juliet. I never know if this is something I should be doing with all of you, but it's working out. I started it with the color of thought, and that was really special. And then being creative, with the very silent being a creative, unintentional choice, I have to say, that happened. Drew, I'm glad you made it. Sorry for the confusion. And Juliet says that I gave her some wonderful advice a little while ago, which was for me to be discerning about who I let into my life. I have never forgotten that, and it made me so much stronger. Cannon, hi. She's having a lovely day. Linda, hi. Thank you for visualizations. Your paintings behind you look amazing. I'm really, really, really thrilled about it. I have to, there's one in the being creative. I don't think, Linda, you've come to that. It's on Mondays and Fridays at 4 o'clock UK time. But here is the one that we've been working on from the very beginning. when the background was totally indigo. There we go. Can you see it? I'm on a time delay here. Here we go. Help, show me. Just a minute. Here we go. Here she is. And that was nothing except indigo blue. And what I'm doing is a series that go along with the color of thought. But this is a particular one that is to do with the feminine aspect of the colors. So indigo is the universal aspect of the individual being. And if you follow the color of thought, which is on my YouTube, you'll see that it's the feminine aspect in all of us, the principle, leads us to that place within that is where creativity and inspiration in our soul and our higher spirit realms work. So it's been interesting. You can look at the replays to watch this developing. It's not quite finished, but Lily asked me if there was a name, and I've come up with one. It came to me, I should say, and it's Aurora. I'm quite happy about that. So, and then I've got the inspiration coming to do the next one as well, which is either orange or green. I see both at the beginning, but as you'll observe, when I'm doing these things, I am not really working from the mental plane. And that's why it's interesting in the last one, where there was no sound, it allowed me to go deeper in the being aspect. But I've found it an interesting experience doing it with sound, talking to you all. So that's but a few days in between, I tend to go back and work by myself on it a little bit, so that the next time you see it, it will be more finished. There are layers and glazes, a whole technical process that goes into my work. Burpee. I have also been thinking about the guidance thing. I think we can all be spiritual guides to each other. I believe I have something to learn from everyone, and I meet in a way or another. Totally. We're all one. Mrs. Tweedy, my Sufi teacher, said that we only need a person one step ahead of us. The main thing I've learned, having had a few teachers, guides, is that I've taken to making my own observations and choices now. I think I have been given enough information to now start living, to walk the talk. And hang on, let's going down. Thank you, Juliet. Erica. Linda, I think I saw the Zoom, but was doing something, so couldn't get to that one. Beautiful angelic paintings. Thank you very much. They will be the playbacks, everything now we're putting onto my YouTube channel, so that you can dive in and see. Thank you, Lily. I think so too. At first, one evening when I was sleeping, it came to be Oracle. And then Aurora came. I thought, yep, that's better. I like that a lot better. It's interesting. I had well, according to Mrs. Tweedy's teachings, Sufi, there are 4 different dream experiences that adventure behind your eyes. During the day, of course, it's a different adventure behind your eyes of learning how to integrate the higher choices into your daily life, into the spin that's all around us, making a choice of what you watch, what you eat, how you think. So it really comes down to the 4th thing that will help us in our choices, and that's to realize that words have energies. Thoughts are an energy. Einstein said that we are just, all of life is energy. And as a human being, Lily used to say that the sooner that we all start realizing we're energies, we will be able to create a different experience. So one of the most important things is to, well, I certainly have been doing it, is can I choose my words? Recognizing that every word has a vibration and it can be toxic. Your thoughts can be toxic. And I started to see the spin of my own mind. And I also saw that I had a choice. There's a chapter in my book early on when I realized there's this little being here that would say, do this, you should do this. And then there's this angelic little being that would say, no, you should dare and go, trust your intuition, trust your life, and go for that. Oh no, you can't do that, it's too scary, don't do it, don't do it. And at first I might pull back and go, oh, of course, it's so scary. And then more and more when I thought, right, I'm going to dare to listen to this thought, and I saw how it worked out, that daring was really worth it. And then I started to enter the process of my thoughts and finding new words. And even when talking to someone, you listen and see if you can hear behind their words, behind this story. And then your counseling will come from words that will inspire them to take a different choice in their lives. Without it being a lecture, you can just plant seeds. And it's most of the time, it's sometimes a logical counseling advice, but it's always, for me, more and more is how can I help this person touch the greatness of who they are. Drew said, when I get in a funk about being unhappy, I hear your voice saying we have choices. It snaps me into rethinking if my funk is worth it. Exactly. Usually not. Thank you for this. That's really important, Drew. Thank you for sharing it. That's one of the questions. Is this thought worth it? Like, create your own little scales. Does that thought really serve or does it not? And when you start to realize that your choices give you strength, fear will start not having control over you in the same way. Because you'll also be daring to think differently than your parents or your society or your religion, and you become who you really are. And I really feel humanity's at that phase right now of learning to do that, to be that. Danny was saying, hi Ginger and all, I came a bit late, but I was being creative, so that's a good excuse, I guess, yes. As to fears, I know they kept me from doing a lot of things I wanted to do, and now there's the art form of not drowning in regrets. Yes, totally. Um, Not always easy, but I think I'm doing fine now. Regrets. Yep, this is what we were talking about earlier, Danny. That taking risks. You know, there's an example of in the human process of cycles, as you're approaching the day that you pass over, or the time, the last years and things, you start to go in a review. And I call it my pre-bucket list. I started it a little while ago, and I wound up selling my house, letting go of everything, and moved to Hawaii. I always wanted to do that. And honestly, I'm in another cycle of this review and wondering, what do I want to do? And the main thing is every day, live the fullest. You might not want to travel or go anywhere. I find painting really helps me. Writing. You could, I don't know, even if you're cooking and stuff, you can create that space. And I've just discovered that the more that I can jump into that place that is me, and then how I create a form of it in my life, even if I decide right now I'm going to watch telly when I finish with my son, and go to bed late because it's so wonderful to share time with him. That's a choice, and it's so exciting when you are filled with this belief of who you are. When you touch that, it's just awesome. When you know, the more that you have that ability to touch who you really, really are, and you have the courage to live, even within a rule book. I have a friend who, for him to have freedom, he's had to go the way of no commitment, jobs. He found it really hard to have a job because he so wanted to be out walking amongst nature and giggle, and I don't know, he's taken that choice. So he doesn't have much money, but he's happily in his freedom. And I'm a little bit different. I wanted to work within the world. I was very deeply into the glamour world for a long time. And now I'm in it out of my choice to share what I've learned about you can be in the rule book and still make choices of your own inner freedom. Interesting. So number 5, which is a very creative one, if you can do it. I wonder, what is your first thought generally when you wake up? If, as Drew said, she's in a funk, is it the first thought, Drew, that you're in a funk? Or if you happen to be angry, some people say don't go to bed on anger. Well, if you're a person that makes your own choices, then you can wake up and say, I'm blessing every day. I am grateful for this day. You never know who you're going to meet and what you're going to hear that might inspire you. It might be the only time you might hear that. Are you totally present in this day? Are you happy to be in the day? And you can be happy that you're alive. Be happy because the sun rose this morning and it's sunny, or even be happy if it's raining. yesterday we were very excited because it was hailstones and snow in Chichester. And it's the main thing is to be grateful of who you are, not for what you have, not for what you necessarily have done, but be grateful because you are who you are. And then you can make a some grateful prayer saying that empowers your whole day, so that you're really right there with a smile, ready to engage, even if you know that there's some choices you have to do that has been really difficult. Start with the thought, because you know deep inside you have the strength to make the right choices based on trusting life. So you might say, I am grateful for this day. May I receive joy and acceptance with all of my choices. May I honor every moment that and honor every person that I meet today. May I make choices from the strength of who I am, for the best of my life. Every day. This is the way to create every day. So I'm going to check all of your messages. Kimberly says we don't need money to be happy. That's an amazing thing. That there's a few years ago I realized that money is becoming an entity in the world. It's like a being. And do you know, it's not a very happy being, because it's not being used for the best of humanity. So I started doing visualizations with money to say, myself and a lot of my friends are happy, to help you be happy. And you can serve the soul of humanity. So I've been doing that for many years, talking to it, to help it, advise it. It's got quite a challenge, that's for sure. Drew said, having had cancer has made me grateful that life is too short. Don't waste it on things that just don't matter, and knowing what doesn't matter. For sure. It's like the basis of the whole choice of creating your own path that listens. And I think COVID actually is making all of us come face to face with that decision. I certainly am. So, how to make it grace. And I know that totally Verpi. This money doesn't make anyone happy, but the lack of it can make one unhappy. And if you really need something and can't afford it, it's a pressure. That's for sure. And I know that even some of the spiritual philosophies and groups that I've met over my many years of being here, they put an anti out on it. So I think there's a fine balance that we have to find of having what we need and being grateful Um, and there is a lot of poverty and starvation right now, so it's quite a challenge. Isabel says being grateful is a good way to start the day for sure. It brings joy. And then dancing while making coffee too. Totally. My children and I used to do rock and roll dancing in the morning, afternoon, sometimes at dinner time. We're known for that. And I sometimes put on Dirty Dancing and I dance around the kitchen. It's just, it makes me very happy. Verby says, I've learned gratitude during the years, learned to be happy of what I have, and I count my blessings. I can find many. That is truly wonderful. Drew says, who's Kimberly, you're having surgery on the May 4th, and I'm nervous about it, but pushing the feeling down. When I was working with Lily Cornford in mental color therapy, she always said that before an operation, talk to your body and say, tell the body what is going to happen and the reason why, so that you can all be a happier, stronger body. So that then the body doesn't go, when, even if you're under anesthetic, the body knows that something's happening. But if you give it information ahead of time, it helps a lot, and your healing doesn't have a shock element to it that you have to also overcome as you're getting better. And whenever you have that fear, Kimberly, find a way of soothing that fear. Because somewhere in there, look and see, what are your thoughts? Maybe write it down. That might be a good idea, to see what is creating the fear. Fear that it won't work, fear, well, there's tons of different fears. But start creating an image of seeing you completely well. Have the strength to make a choice, what thought you're going to leave in your mind. And you can do very constructive visualizations to empower your mind and your heart from having irrational fears. And sensible fears might be another way. But this is where we're talking about choosing words and choosing thoughts. And the more you let the fear build, the more the fear will control. But there are loads of little tiny things you can do to counteract it. You could draw a flower each time. You can have a picture of a flower or something beautiful on your phone that you just look at every time this thing starts to build. And I have to be honest that if I ever have a strong fear that keeps me from sleeping at night, I use the homeopathic remedy aconite 30s. They come in different doses, potencies. And if you're in England, Boots sells it, Amazon sells them. That's really good. And then my homeopath always gave me arnica before an operation, a week before. An arnica 200 you can get, I think you can get it from Amazon if you're in America. I don't know where you live, Kimberly. Anyway, do you know what? This has been a very fast hour. So, Juliet says, I now love little things. For instance, saying hello to strangers, yes, when I'm walking my dog, and the lovely thing they say about him. He was leaping around in the fields this morning in the sun, and that so made me smile. My heart felt warm. And my son is home today. Woohoo! And we're watching football together in a while. He makes me smile, and I love sharing the things he loves with him. Terrific. Have a cigar, Canon, is a really good one, especially if you're at the mixer. Great, Kimberly. Message me and let me know how you're getting on. Thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Karen. Hi. Great hour. It really flowed really beautifully. So, as I said, we've got the Being Creative on Mondays and Fridays at 4 o'clock in the UK. That varies between a half an hour to an hour. With sound, I hope. I think I'm going to put up a big sign that says sound on. And then we've got these Wednesdays, and my all my art is up on artpal.com. You can get different sizes of prints and teacups, apparently. And then, of course, there's my book, Memoirs of the Bright Side of the Moon. So, oh yes, one more thing. Having done the color of thought with the basic colors of mental color therapy that we use towards opening up your own creative healing abilities, I'm offering up soon that you can either have a Zoom healing with me, or we can take you deeper in the training of mental color therapy. So that will be on my website, and I believe it will be in YouTube, I think. Check my website first, but it'll probably be on Facebook. I'm not sure. It's a new thing. I just thought the color of thought, to go deeper, I needed a one-to-one with you, if that's your interest. So thank you so much for coming, and maybe see you Friday. That's interesting. Leslie said Ainsworth sells Surgery 200C to take after an surgery. Arnica bellis perennis calendula hyper. Interesting. That sounds good. Do they have Ainsworth, by the way, is a homeopathic pharmacy in London. And Leslie, I wonder if, well, they have a pharmacist there that can advise you about what it is. But Arnica 1000 was 3 we took. I've taken each time I have a surgery. Fortunately, aren't too many. 1000. But that, I'm going to get some of that. That's amazing. 200C. Good. Yvonne says, I can't thank you enough for this lovely meditation and your words tonight, Ginger. Much better than rehabilitation program. I have to join at the moment, which really forces me. Hang on, everyone's gone too fast. Oh, Yvonne, where are you? I have to join at the moment, which really forces me to make my choices. I'm realizing that I already know clearly what is really healthy for me. Have a love. Yvonne, please keep me in the know of what's happening with you, okay? I am going to have fun, Kimberly, with Matthew. And good night to everyone. It's been wonderful. Thank you, Richard. Bye, Drew. Keep me in touch of how you're healing, okay? Anyway, that time has come. Ow. Oh, thank you for coming.